Okay. Good evening and welcome to the special meeting of the Putnam County Legislature for the adoption of the 2026 budget. This evening is October 29th, 2025. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. And Legislator Goldman, would you please lead us?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for the legislative prayer, and I'll call on Legislator Adenizio.
We seek blessings on the tasks before us. Bless our efforts with clear insight, our deliberations with wisdom, our work with clarity and accuracy, and our decisions with impartiality.
Roll call, please.
District 1, Legislator Montgomery. District 2, Legislator Goldman. District 3, Legislator Adenizio.
Present.
District 4, Legislator Russo.
Present.
District 5, Legislator Ellner.
Here.
District 6, Legislator Jonke.
Present.
District 7, Legislator Birmingham.
Here.
District 9, Legislator Crowley.
Present.
District 8, Chairwoman Sage.
Present. And moving on to agenda item number 4 is our pre-filed resolutions from the Budget and Finance Committee. Agenda item 4A is Office of Senior Resources, chargeback for the Copier lease. This is just to account for chargeback lines. This is simply just accounting. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
4B is Putnam's Arts Council contribution to the arts, increasing advertising and county contribution from $70,957 to $75,000 even. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Agenda item 4C. Putnam Recreation Program. This is to increase the county contribution from $15,450 to $25,000. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Agenda item 4D is an item for Second Chance Foods. This is to increase the county contribution from $10,300 to $20,000. This is a difference of $9,700. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Agenda item 4E. Career Support Solutions, increase county contribution to $30,000. This is proposed by Legislator Birmingham. This is moving the contribution from $15,340 to $30,000, a difference of $14,660. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Agenda item 4F. This is the Hudson Valley Shakespeare Festival. County contribution. This is proposed by Legislator Montgomery. This is giving them a $10,000 increase. This is a difference of $10,000. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
And item 4G is for the Garrison Arts Center. This is increasing their contribution to $10,000. This is proposed by Legislator Montgomery. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Agenda item 4H. This is for Boscobel, for a county contribution of $10,000. This is also proposed by Legislator Montgomery. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Agenda item 4I is for the Office of Disabilities and Mental Health, LGU Administration. This is for a coordinator office for individuals with disabilities to restore salary to the requested amount. This is a difference of $10,486. Is our discussion on this item. I'd just like to make mention of the when we went to the legislative forum for the mental health department, they did talk about resources for individuals with disabilities, that it's greatly needed here in Putnam County, and I think increasing this salary is going to support those services, and I'm very much in favor of this. And with that, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Agenda item 4J is for the mental health SPOA, which is a single point of access coordinator for adults. This is to restore the salary to the requested amount from $99,928 to $104.98, $104,928, plus FICA $383, for a difference of $5,883. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Agenda item 4K. This is for the mental health OASAS abatement. This is for a dual recovery coordinator to restore the salary to the requested amount. This is a difference of savings of $5,383. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
4L is for mental health. This is for the co-respondents team grant, crisis intervention specialist for law enforcement. This is to restore the salary to the requested amount. This is an increased difference of $5,383. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Agenda item 4M. This is for DSS services. The Director of Child and Family Services to restore to the salary requested amount. This is a total difference of $5,383. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Agenda item 4N. This is for the Youth Bureau, for the Deputy Youth Director to restore salary to the amount requested. This is a total difference of $10,980 increase. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Agenda item 4O. This is for the County Auditor to increase the salary and move it from subcontingency per the Catapult survey, in the amount of, total difference of $2,931. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Agenda item 4P is also for the County Auditor, for the Audit Manager, to increase the salary per the Catapult survey. This is an increase in the amount of $11,513. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Agenda item 4Q. This is for the County Auditor, for the Deputy County Auditor, to increase salary per the Catapult survey. This is a difference of $14,675. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Agenda item 4R. This is for the Legislature to reclass Administrative Assistant to Deputy Clerk to increase the salary per the Catapult survey. This is a difference of $11,022. Discussion.
If I may. It's
Legislator
well-deserved.
Montgomery.
Long overdue, well-deserved, and thank you and congratulations.
Anyone else? I agree. Very well deserved. All in favor?
Aye.
4S, this is for the Office of Senior Resources, for a caseworker assistant. This is for part-time, 25 hours per week. Should be calculated as a step 2. This is a difference of $4,736 increase. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Agenda item 4T. This is for the historian's office. This is to increase the historians from up to full-time. This is a difference of $25,753 to make our county historian a full-time employee. Discussion. I'll just say, I think it's incredible the job that she's doing as a part-time employee. I know that she's probably already working full-time hours, and I think this is well-deserved, and I can't wait to see what she's going to do with a full-time position. With that, all in favor?
Aye.
4U is the Department of General Services for the Commissioner to increase salary as per the Catapult survey, and just making a note that you have a sheet that was passed out. There was a problem with the copier, and it wasn't copied. I just want to make sure everybody knows that this is confidential. The backup is confidential. But this is to increase the Commissioner's salary as per the Catapult survey for a difference of $3,207. Is there discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Agenda item 4V. This is adjustments to the chargeback revenue and expenses. This is for the Sheriff's Department, Sheriff's Security Services for DSS, the Road Machinery Fund, Transit Part Bus System, and insurance expense. This is a positive because it's chargebacks in the amount of $62,983. This is just to make it's accounting. It's for the chargebacks to make it clear in the budget. Any questions or comments on this particular item? All in favor?
Aye.
4W is for the sheriff. It's for the Buckle Up Grant adjustment. This is in the amount of $1,554. This is a positive for the budget. This is recognizing grant funding. Is there discussion on this item? All in favor?
Aye.
4X, this is for the legislature. This is for the agricultural board to remove from the county planning and place it under the legislature, and increasing the amount from $1,000 to $2,500 into the legislator line. This is proposed by Legislator Ellner. Discussion.
Madam Chair?
Legislator Birmingham.
Yes, on this item, I know this change was made, I believe, in the Budget and Finance Committee, which is us. What I'd like to do is, after speaking with some of the folks involved with this board, is increase, keep the transfer the way it is from one department to another, but to increase the 2,500 to 10,000. And the reason for that is, I see the eyebrows going up, and the reason for that is, though, on the Ag Board, we do have volunteers who will be using this money for training and things like that, perhaps to go to conferences. But in addition to that, it would also be helpful to bring people in to speak with not only the members of the Ag Board to give them training and everything associated with that, but also for anyone else who might want to participate, including legislators. I must admit, I've been off the board, this legislature, for about 12 years. A lot of this has changed in that time, and I feel myself not up to snuff on the issues that face this board. And as a legislator, if there is an opportunity to have some in-county training that others can participate, including ourselves, I think increasing this number would help that happen. I'm just using 10,000 as a starting point. I just think we might want to increase it a bit more. It is under our budget, so we would have some control over how it's parceled out. But I'll just throw that out there and see what my colleagues think about it.
Are you making a motion, or are we just having a
Yes,
discussion?
I'd like to make a motion to amend the 2,500 to 10,000.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, discussion. Legislator Jonke.
Thank you. I'd be in favor of it, but I think we should put the money in subcontingency so they have to come to us and explain what they want to spend the money on, rather than put it directly into their budget.
May I ask?
But I'm
I get it.
I'm not making an amendment to it yet, but I don't know how my colleagues feel about it, or you as the person who made the motion.
We're in a tricky area, because if I could just go to put it into subcontingency, I'm wondering, and I'll defer to counsel and the auditor, typically anytime we move anything out of a fund or out of subcontingency, we need the initiation to come from the county exec pursuant to Charter Section 07. So I'm wondering if, not that wouldn't happen, but if the goal is to keep it in our department, to have it kind of, under our purview, whether that might just at a minimum, add just another step, another step.
I'll withdraw my statement and
Anyone else?
make it easier.
Any further discussion?
I'm in favor of getting them the money, and I don't want to add that additional step.
Through the
Mr.
chair, if I
Montgomery.
can ask Legislator Birmingham a question. And this came from members of the Ag Board after further discussion with them, is that?
It was right after our meeting in the hallway downstairs,
Okay.
and so it was rather informal. It was I haven't been given permission to state her name, but it's somebody who lives in my district who we all know.
I appreciate this because, having started my time, in local government, my focus was planning board, zoning boards. At that time, it was a conservation committee, now it's a board. And I always wanted, and it was required for all the boards in towns, for them to have, a certain amount of training each year. I don't see that we require that for any of our boards. But in addition to that, this is a robust group that is really interested in really making our ag districts comprehensive for the county. And I think any kind of training that they can do outside, or if they could be going to our towns and our town board, planning board meetings, and maybe educating them on what the ag district is. And, they're going to need transportation for that. They're going to need dinner. I'd love to see them have some kind of retreat with each other in talking about, we have an ag plan coming up. That's, hopefully they are going to be very involved in this, and it's going to take a lot of time. And they're going to need to boost up their resources and training. Sorry.
Legislative Counsel had her hand up.
Through the chair, were you aware of what trainings these were? Because typically governmental trainings are free. So the legislator wanting to go to a governmental training, oftentimes you just have to sign up.
Sure.
Was there specific trainings that were enumerated such that it would be, they're not that big of a board, there's not that many people, is it really?
It may not have been the actual entry fee to get into these boards, but perhaps travel up to Albany or other places north or west of there. That's also, if it's an overnight trip, that does have an expense to it. And specifically that example of the travel costs, not as much as the entry fee, was the subject of our conversation. And there are, 5 members on the board, I think, or maybe more. So divide that by 2,500, or divide 5 into 2,500, you could or you could expend, if all 5 board members went, all that could be done with one meeting, just in either travel and lodging alone.
The governmental rate for the travel would be the reimbursable rate for that.
Right.
And then, the hotel is, would be tax exempt for governmental.
Are these legal questions you're asking, or?
No, I'm just
okay.
commenting, just in terms of the math of it all.
Okay. Any legal non-policy questions you might have?
No, I don't have any question.
Okay.
I just was asking, just in terms of how it, I just didn't know whether that had been provided. If that had been provided, you might want to have that.
Yeah, no, and I'll admit it was a casual conversation after our budget and finance meeting. There was no spreadsheets or anything, but just more of a gut feeling of, and we've all been to government conferences as well. We know that they, just the travel and lodging alone can eat up a $500 allotment per member.
Legislator Crowley.
I had the Ag Board meeting this morning. Education did come up a little bit, and that came up in, talking about the $2,500 that was allotted. There was a discussion about bringing people to Putnam. There was also discussion about NISAC, one of them, that came up. And then there was also discussion where Soil and Water would be willing to get involved at some point, and they're not here. I wish they were here to speak for the first time ever. They're not here. But, I don't want to speak for them. So it did come up in discussion, and I will tell you, there's a lot being done. But I would like to, see what we're going to and really, look at it. I don't have any problem with education. I think it's great. We've fallen into 2 lawsuits, so we don't want to go there anymore, and I think we need to be further educated on this. The one thing is that I'd like to make sure that we have people that are, and they're an invested group, but I don't want to see an overture of people coming in and out that we're sending every single year, and have kind of an open door. So I think that's my thing, is spending wisely on people, making sure that they're really invested, and also, it wouldn't be bad to bring soil and water in with the ag group and have, dual kind of trainings. That's what we had discussed together this morning. So just a couple of comments, no negative, no positive, just some things that I got back.
Anyone else?
I mean, to Council's point, Ag and Markets does provide training. Cornell Cooperative provides training for a minimal fee, like farm training program. That's, so, also the idea of the farm plan that we have up against us and their involvement, is 10,000 too much? That's what was requested? Maybe compromise and say 5,000?
It's something that.
Not to take anything away from
No, no.
farmers.
No.
just-
No.
We don't know what it's for. From what I know is there are lots of trainings available through Ag and Markets, but I really would like to see, professionals come in and maybe even speak to us, and having them retreat with each other.
Legislator Russo.
I was going to agree with Legislator Montgomery. Maybe we could do 5,000, see how it goes, see what their types of classes or trainings there are, and then if needed, we can increase it next year.
Yeah, with that, I'll withdraw my amendment for 10,000 and submit another one for 5,000. To bring it up to a total of 5,000.
Is this an amendment? Do we have to?
No, well, I'm withdrawing my.
You're withdrawing, okay.
Withdrawing my amendment, the seconder, I imagine, does as well. So now I'd like to make a new amendment, separate, to increase it from 2,500 to 5,000.
From 2,500 to 5,000?
Yes.
Okay. And we have a second. Okay. And discussion on that. I was going to make the case in the last, that I thought that was pretty excessive, and I know that they do offer free trainings, and Ag and Markets is always wanting to come down and go to our meetings if they can make it. If they're not busy, they come down for free. And as far as mileage, isn't that something, do we have to budget for that in the legislative line anyway, or would that come out of the Ag budget? It would come out of their budget, okay. So mileage would probably be the most of what they would pay for. And I think 10,000 is excessive, especially if we don't know what it is. I've never seen a brochure for an ag seminar that they have to pay money for, So I even think 5,000 is excessive, but I'm happy to hear that. Better than 10,000. Legislator Crowley.
If we're talking mileage, is that going to include now that it can be submitted for site visits too? Like the entire board, if the entire board goes
Right.
out on site visits, are we then going to be charging back mileage, right? Because that's something we never did before, and I just want to put that out there, that if
Yep.
we're opening up that, if we're talking about mileage, which was brought up, then, that's going to be.
Well, I know generally any sort of, even for volunteer boards, there's generally an allowance for necessary expenses, such as travel, to the extent it might be a local drive. Maybe people don't put in, I know I certainly don't put in mileage to attend these meetings. But, if there's something that people are going up to Albany or even having people come in, that was more of the thought behind it.
No, I just wanted, and through the chair, I apologize, I just want to understand, is it going to be like, if I'm driving to Patterson almost once a month, am I putting in for mileage to go to Patterson because I don't
Right, you
typically
can.
go there? I wouldn't.
No.
I'm just saying, but I just don't want, I want it to be used the right way. I want it to be used appropriately. I understand what you can and can't do. I just don't want this to be at the tax. I want this to be done fiscally conservatively, and I know Soil and Water has, and I'm not speaking for them, I just know that they've expressed that they've been willing to support before and help. So I would like to have them weigh in on this as well and see what their give and take is. And I think I'm more comfortable with 5,000 or at the $2,500 mark, and if there's a meeting coming up, then they can come to the meeting and propose it like anybody, like we do for NISAC. I have no problem with that either.
But that's budgeted.
Legislator Russo, you had your hand up?
I just wanted to say that all the volunteer positions I had, where I went to meetings, you kept track and then you filed them with your income tax as, mileage that way, not reimbursement from an individual board. So that's always an option.
For volunteer positions.
Yeah, it's on your tax.
Okay.
I don't
Why?
think for government, I'm sorry. I don't think for government volunteer positions you can.
Okay, that might be
I'm
the
not sure,
difference.
but I don't think so. I think I tried that.
I haven't, but
Okay, anyone else? So we have a motion on the floor to increase it, the Ag Board, to $5,000. It was seconded by Legislator Ellner. I guess I'll call a roll call vote.
So we're at 5,000?
5,000,
2,500 more.
and increase it.
Legislator Adenizio,
Yes.
Legislator Birmingham,
Yes.
Legislator Crowley,
Yes.
Legislator Ellner,
Yes.
Legislator Goulman, Legislator Jonke,
Yes.
Legislator Montgomery,
Yes.
Legislator Russo,
yes.
Chairwoman Sage.
Yes.
Motion carries.
So that was just to amend, and now we
Oh.
vote on the revised resolution as amended.
Oh. Okay, thank you. That was to amend it to 5,000. Okay, now we're voting on the amended. Thank you for keeping me in line. Okay. Now we're voting on the amendment.
Roll call.
Yep.
Legislator Adenizio,
Yes.
Legislator Birmingham.
Yes.
Legislator Crowley,
Yes.
Legislator Ellner,
Yes.
Legislator Goulman, Legislator Jonke,
Yes.
Legislator Montgomery,
Yes.
Legislator Russo,
Yes.
Chairwoman Sage.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Okay. Moving on to agenda item 4Y. This is for tourism, to retitle tourism advertising to tourism promotion and development. I would like to make an amendment to this. I'd like to make a motion to amend retitling the tourism budget back to promotion, from promotion and development back to advertising. I did have an extensive discussion with tourism. I spoke with our county auditor, that it really should just be categorized just to advertising, which encompasses promotion. And then we can possibly make the change back to the original advertising. We can move any money out of that we don't want to include it in advertising. And I would propose in the second motion to maybe put that into tourism miscellaneous, but we can discuss that. First, I would like to make a motion to retitle it back to advertising.
Second.
Discussion on that? I mean, I think I understand what Legislator Montgomery and Legislator Birmingham were getting at. They didn't want to give this whole big clump to go towards advertising, and they wanted to maybe make it more specific to other areas, and so we'll change it back to advertising. So any further discussion? Go ahead.
I think I don't mind that it's one big clump for advertising. What I mind is there are no resources to support tourism. And New York State keeps promoting tourism, and we don't have the means to support the tourism that we bring in. And that's what I was trying to get at. I'm fine with putting it back because I understand it's not possible, for the budget, and Munis doesn't see it as that. So I'm fine with that, and maybe we can develop another line item at some point with our big fund balance to support tourism.
Any other discussion on changing the item? Legislator Birmingham?
Yeah, I'm not.
Changing the line.
Yeah, just to change.
Retitling it back to.
Yeah, I'll echo what Nancy was saying, Amy, and if we'll keep it as advertising, and if that's what Munis system requires and the, accounting procedures, that's fine. So you're proposing this amendment, and then we can come back if we
And then
want
we
to
can come
change
back and
the
talk
amount.
about the money.
Okay,
Yeah,
got it.
so this is just retitling the line back to advertising. So if there's no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. And now maybe we can tackle the money part of it. After speaking to, I'll make a motion to transfer $7,500 from tourism advertising line and put it into tourism miscellaneous. Is there a second on that?
Second.
Okay. Discussion. I'll just state my reasons for that. I did have an extensive conversation with our Director of Tourism, Tara, and our previous Director, Tracy. I'm sorry, and this was kind of a budget, kind of a compromise that we discussed at the meeting. I tried to explain that we don't want everything going into advertising, that maybe we want something set aside to support tourism, as Legislator Montgomery was talking about, something that doesn't fit into advertising, and, maybe parking or signs or directing people or paying for something that will help support tourism that doesn't go into advertising. And they felt pretty good about that. They suggested $7,500, so I, make a motion for that. That was seconded. And any further discussion on this is certainly welcome. Legislator Birmingham.
Well, is there any appetite to make the $7,500 a little larger? The only reason I say that is let's not forget, we also have the I Love New York dollars, which are restricted state dollars in the same budget for advertising. And this is a new program, in essence, on a local level for us to, on our own, unrestrictedly have advertising dollars. I think 7,500 might be a little too little, especially for a new program, as far as decreasing it. And with miscellaneous, I don't know what that means, other than a catch-all.
Right.
I'm wondering if
Go
there
into
could be a
subcontingency
partnership
also.
line or something, and I'm not amending your amendment at the moment, but I'm wondering if, to echo what Nancy was saying, we do have, even Brewster, we used to have, I think we still do, some races that go through the village of Brewster that are, whether they're foot races or bike races, that are heavily advertised with the I Love New York dollars. I know the village of Brewster, which is in my district, does expend a lot of money on the cleaning and the police force to close the roads and things. So instead of miscellaneous, is there some sort of partnership line? I'm
That I don't
defer to our
Defer to our auditor.
auditor, so
Partnership where
with our municipalities that might have these larger, I know every weekend in the nice weather, Cold Spring has quite a crowd, and, we tell people to come to Cold Spring, and I know with these separate events in the Village of Brewster, we heavily advertise those as well.
and that line would be to make a payment to someone.
Yeah, we can,
Partnerships,
yeah,
so
that,
that's, I'm not sure, like miscellaneous is broader, that kind of thing.
but miscellaneous could also include advertising. It's a true catch-all,
Right, but that we wouldn't do, so.
but we wouldn't be in charge of it once it's in miscellaneous.
Well, if you're stating what the purpose is, then I'm sure that's.
We could say miscellaneous, non-advertising.
Right, and we wouldn't process that payment.
Okay. Yeah. So some of my thoughts, I'd be interested in a higher number and maybe some dedication to local communities.
Any other discussion?
Just for reference, if I may, through the chair, there is $7,000 currently in miscellaneous. I forget what it was for. I know she probably told us. And, I don't like things in miscellaneous either. It's like that's going to be quite a bit of money in miscellaneous. I'm looking at Michelle.
So,
We could put some guardrails on it, but we don't have those right now, and that's always the issue. Like, we don't have a program, we didn't establish that. We could just randomly just say miscellaneous, like you said, outside of.
Non-tourism, non-advertising.
Not advertising. Health and safety, like, extra garbage cans on event days. That would be 14 grand.
Crowley signage.
That would be 14 grand.
Legislator
so
Crowley.
I did speak to Tracy and Tara, and historically, I think they use the miscellaneous line for transportation to support the municipalities. So that's what they used it for.
So that's in line with what our ideas are.
And when I spoke to her, she also said that that would be like QR codes to help direct traffic. People could take a QR code and find a map to parking for a tourist event or, those types of things that you can't really categorize into advertising.
Subcontingency.
We can do that too. That's, we can, it's up to Legislator Ellner.
Madam Chair, would you entertain a friendly amendment to increase this transfer out to 20,000 and put all of it in subcontingency? So this way they would have to come, miscellaneous subcontingency, so this way they'll have to come with a plan and it can be controlled. And if they're spending more on the advertising they needed, you can always transfer it back in.
Are you making an amendment?
I'm asking for a friendly amendment to increase the amount to 20,000.
Is there a second on that?
I'll second that.
And it's,
I think there's no harm in doing that because it's going to be in subcontingency and we can just pull it out as needed.
So instead of putting it 7,500 into
miscellaneous.
miscellaneous,
Right.
you take 20,000 and put it into subcontingency.
And they would have to come to us for approval and this way we have oversight. That's just my opinion.
Discussion on that?
I do have a discussion on that amendment to an amendment.
Yeah.
Just to clarify, just so we can stay on the Venn diagram.
Correct. Thank you.
So I think what we have, and I'll defer to council, is we have an amendment of an amendment. So unless there's another amendment after discussion, what we would do is we would vote on this amendment.
We have to vote on the amendment to the amendment.
Exactly,
But we're discussing the amendment to the amendment before we vote on it.
which is part of my discussion now,
All
right?
right, okay.
Yeah. So the amendment to the amendment is 20,000 instead of 7,500, and subcontingency instead of tourism miscellaneous. If that passes, that's now the new amendment.
Correct.
And then we vote on that to pass or fail, and then we come back, and if it passes, then we come back to the main new 20,000 out into subcontingency. Backing up now, if the amendment to the amendment fails, we're back to your 7,500
Right.
to tourism miscellaneous.
Correct.
Just want to make sure that that's, okay.
Correct. So if anybody has a
Before
discussion.
roll call, just explain the
Sorry, I
amendment
want
to the amendment.
I want the 7,500 to stay in
Then you
this
will-
line.
Then you would
Then you
vote.
vote no.
Then you would vote no.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so, all right.
So,
Good, all right.
So this is discussion on putting 20,000 into subcontingency. I mean, I'll just go out and say, I think that's a high number, and I'm not really in favor of that. I don't want to hand tie them. I know what they're trying to do. They want to get on Hudson Valley advertising sites. I think if we pull $20,000 out, it's going to really tie their hands, especially in Rev 250 this
I
year.
agree.
But, that's my opinion.
On that point, they could always come back and ask us in January.
Correct. You're right. You're right.
I mean,
I
not-
just- it's
if
more
I can
flexibility
say,
for them.
Not so much just specific to tourism, in generally speaking. When the departments come before us and have these general asks, $60,000 for advertising. I've seen the advertising that we've done, probably not all of it. I probably have no clue the amount of advertising we do. But I don't have an advertising plan in front of me. I don't know what costs. I don't know what the social media advertisement costs, as opposed to getting in with the Hudson Valley media. So that's challenging for me, just like, with the Ag Board needing $10,000 for training. What are the trainings? It's always the question. I trust these people to ask for what they need. It's very hard to not give them what they need, but I need to. I need to understand it better, and maybe I should work harder at understanding it better and asking for these things, but,
But this gives them time to
That's
develop
my
that. and
feature.
come back.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, so we're going to vote on amending the amendment to put it 20,000 into sub-contingency and do away with the initial
75.
motion that I made to move it to miscellaneous. So this is to change the amendment to 20,000. So I'll do a roll call vote on that.
Legislator Adnesio,
Yes.
Legislator Birmingham,
Yes.
Legislator Crowley,
No.
Legislator Ellner,
Yes.
Legislator Gulman, Legislator Jonke,
Yes.
Legislator Montgomery,
Yes.
Legislator Russo,
No.
Chairwoman Sage.
No?
Motion carries.
Okay. So now we have before us $20,000 from the advertising budget going into sub-contingency. And we will have a discussion regarding that. If anyone has anything. Okay. Since there's no discussion, we'll vote on the amendment to put $20,000 from the tourism advertising budget into sub-contingency. Roll call vote, please.
Legislator Adnesio,
Yes.
Legislator Birmingham,
Yes.
Legislator Crowley,
No.
Legislator Ellner,
Yes.
Legislator Gulman, Legislator Jonke,
Yes.
Legislator Montgomery,
Yes.
Legislator Russo,
No.
and Chairwoman Sage.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, so moving on to,
Do we then have to approve the underlying resolution? Yeah, we still have one more step on this one.
oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
Is that true?
I don't,
Because,
no, we voted on the amendment.
well, no, if
No, we
I
only
could
voted on the
recap.
20,000.
Yeah.
We did vote,
It's 60,000 altogether, though.
but we took 20,000 out of,
Yeah.
We did? Okay, okay, as amended to 40 and 20.
40 and 20.
Okay, all right.
20, 40 in advertising, 20 in, I'll defer to council.
And then she thought, I lost the thread there somewhere, I guess.
I thought we were still a little down the rabbit hole because
Yeah,
the first one was to go from 20, because we had two amendments on the floor.
Correct.
The
That's
first
why I-
amendment
Second
was for
amendment.
7,500, and that one then was amended to
20. And we
20,000.
voted on that.
We voted on the 20,000 first to amend the 7,500, and that had a 6-3 vote. And then now we have, what we just voted on was to amend the underlying one, the 60 to the 40. And we just voted on that. I don't think we voted on the underlying original resolution.
Don't we have a replay?
Yeah.
So we voted on the amendment, we didn't vote on the actual resolution.
That you didn't vote.
So we didn't vote on the
On
resolution.
the underlying, what we did is we voted to amend the
We voted
underlying
to
resolution.
amend.
In our last vote, my understanding is, what I voted on anyway, was to amend the underlying resolution from 60 to 40. And now it's amended with no further amendments, and 20 coming to sub-contingency.
Okay,
So
so,
just take the next vote,
That was my
play it safe.
understanding
Yes.
as Legislator Birmingham.
okay.
I just
Mr.
feel like
Crowley.
we're giving everybody else, we just gave the ag board a substantial amount of money without having to come to us and say what they're using it for. We're saying education, they don't have to come to us and say what they're using it for. Now we're going to do this to tourism when we just funded how many different programs throughout the county for tourism and programs that we need to promote? It doesn't make any sense to me. So if we're not going to promote the things we funded, then why are we funding them? And why are we hamstringing them? We're giving everybody else money that we've never traditionally done. I don't understand it. It seems a little off base, and to me, I don't support it. We're going to spend the taxpayers' dollars, and we're going to support these wonderful businesses and non-for-profits throughout Putnam County. We need to find a way to bring people in to spend the money to offset the tax base, and that's what we need to do. So that's how I feel. We should not be hamstringing tourism like this. We've never done it to them before. They don't ask for a lot, they do a lot, and I think they're very important. And we haven't done this with anybody else.
Anyone else? Okay, I mean, I understand, we're not taking it away from them. to Legislator Montgomery's point, is what are they spending it on? And we would like to see maybe a plan. I honestly felt $7,500 going into miscellaneous would be fine, but I understand wanting to see exactly what the plan is and where's this, it's $60,000 in tourism that we've never put in there before, and I know it's a big year for that, but
Plus the
I don't
$10,000.
have a problem having it available to them in subcontingency and having a plan if they come back in January and we're like, yeah, this looks good. So I don't have a problem. Anyone else? Legislator?
The legislator's role is to have oversight. And no harm, no foul. It's going to be in subcontingency. So they just come to us with their plan, and we release the funding.
Anyone else? Okay, so now we'll have a roll call vote on the $20,000 going into subcontingencies, $40,000 staying in advertising.
Legislator Adenizio.
Yes.
Legislator Birmingham.
Yes.
Legislator Crowley.
Yes.
Legislator Ellner.
Yes.
Legislator Goulman. Legislator Jonke.
Yes.
Legislator Montgomery.
Yes.
Legislator Russo.
Yes.
Chairwoman Sage.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Agenda item 4Z, this is for soil and water. This is to remove $60,000 revenue line per the decentralized budget process from Section E, 19. This is a difference of, in the positive for the budget, $60,000. Discussion.
Negative. Negative, it's removing this.
That is positive for the budget.
You're increasing the overall
Yeah,
budget,
increasing
yes.
Right.
Yes. Yep.
Right.
Yay.
Any discussion on this item?
Just
Legislator Montgomery.
I mean, I want to thank our attorney and everybody in the Soil and Water District members for working so hard on this. I mean, it's just an ongoing process, and there's a lot that needs to be cleaned up, and we're doing it thanks to our attorney and thanks to the Soil and Water Board members.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing. We're all learning, and we're all doing the right thing one step at a time. I think this is the right thing to do at this point. Anyone else? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Agenda item 4AA. This is for the use of fund balance for the homeowner tax relief rebate that was proposed by Legislator Jonke. Discussion. Legislator Crowley.
So I will be voting in favor of this. I just want to read a statement. So we all agree that Putnam County should be more affordable. That's why I've supported and will continue to support real, immediate reforms that puts the taxpayers first, including the largest tax property cut levy in the county history, extending tax-free purchases on clothing and shoes, which was $110, and the historic tax sharing agreement that returns money to our towns and villages for infrastructure, economic development, without raising local taxes. Regarding the discussion of a potential rebate, I want to be clear. This is not a vote to send rebate checks. The funds in question are being set aside in contingency so we can responsibly review the legality and impact. Legislative Counsel has already advised that the proposal as written is not lawful, and further guidance from the state legislature and comptroller is required. If it's ultimately determined that a rebate cannot be legally issued, I will propose that the money be placed into a tax stabilization fund, ensuring it continues to benefit residents by helping to prevent future tax increases. My focus remains on responsible, lawful, and sustainable tax relief for the people of Putnam County. I want to be very clear on this. I am all for helping out with taxes. When I voted no last week, it is very much because I want to make sure it's not for optics. I want to make sure that it is something that is feasible. And I usually like to have a little bit of homework or backup to it, not just a memo, before we propose it to the taxpayers and the residents of Putnam. And not just dangle a carrot in front of them and say, hey, this looks good, and it could happen. I want it to happen. So I think it's in concept, it would be wonderful, I'd love to see it happen, but I would like to have some research done before we do things like that, because some people can count on $200. That could make or break them, and I think that's important. And I will be voting in support of this, but I do hope that, it does come to fruition, and that, this would be the first time in New York State for it to happen. And I hope that in the future we could do a little bit more research to have better understanding before we propose stuff. So, thank you, Legislator Jonke for proposing it, and thank you, Chairwoman Sage, for letting me speak.
Anyone else? Legislator Jonke.
Thank you. I just want to get away from the term rebate.
You called it a rebate.
In the resolution, we
Yeah.
call it a homeowner tax relief program. On the agenda, it says rebate.
Sorry.
So it's a tax relief program, it's inflation relief, but we're not going to use the term rebate. This is intended to give meaningful tax relief to single-family homeowners. The historic property tax cut, while it has never been done before, we actually did cut the levy by $500,000. This year's levy cut is $1 million. We did cut the levy in 2024 and 2025. And there was virtually no impact on the county bills for our residents. This also will only have an impact, or will have the greatest impact, for the city of New York, NYSEG, Central Hudson. Those utilities and municipalities are going to have the greatest benefit of the levy cut, which is the historic property tax cut that's been proposed. In the county executive's budget address, he talked about the tax rate going to 2.39. Even with putting this money in subcontingency, because it's coming out of the unassigned fund balance, it's not going to have any impact on the tax rate. Our work on this budget is going to show a 2.15 property tax rate in January of 2026. 2.15. The county executive said it was going to be 2.39. After all our work, it's going to be 2.15. So that's significant relief from the legislature. The tax relief program is not going to benefit the city of New York. It's not going to benefit large developers. It's not going to benefit the owner of Putnam Plaza or corporations. It's going to benefit senior citizens. It's going to benefit veterans. It's going to benefit the people who need that little bit of help when they get their oil bill or their electric bills. All of our electric bills are going through the roof. So that's what it's intended for. I appreciate any support we get moving forward, and I also, council gave an opinion. This has come up, in recent times. I don't think it's appropriate to share council's opinion in public. And I think there is a lot of research that needs to be done. It has never been done before. And wouldn't it be nice if Putnam County were first in line to do to be successful with a program like this? So, thank you.
Legislator Anizio.
Thank you. I agree, and I'm in favor of this proposal. The people who built this community deserve to see a tax relief program, and I believe that we can return some tax relief to every single-family, owner-occupied household in our county, and I think everyone needs to understand that. It has to be owner-occupied, because some people were saying that if it was somebody owned 4 houses, they would get it on each house. It has to be owner-occupied, single-family households. So this is a tangible way to thank our taxpayers for their trust and ensure that they benefit from our sound financial stewardship. We work very hard in this county.
Thank you. Anyone else? Legislator Birmingham.
Yeah, I'll be voting in favor of this. I think it's a great program. I think if we are the first to do something like that, that's great. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. next month, at the audit meeting, we're going to be presented with hopefully the completed 2024 audit. We do have in our possession now from the Commissioner of Finance the draft audit. And we've been instructed that that is it's not a private document at this point, it's just, we have to say it's draft. And the fund balance that we have that's demonstrated in that, and again, we're talking about this is as of December 31st, 2024, so it's almost a year old. So just keep this in mind, things could have shifted between then and now. But in the audit that we got, the draft audit, the unassigned fund balance stayed pretty much even, right around 87 million, and the difference between the end of 23 and 24 was maybe 100,000 or so, a couple of 100,000. Not a small amount, but it looked like it was the unassigned fund balance was pretty much even, which is good. It didn't go down. That's a good thing. But one thing we have to remember, the assigned fund balance in that draft audit jumped a lot. And I'm not going to say that's a good thing or a bad thing. I just think we should recognize that what the assigned fund balance is simply and importantly an estimate by the Commissioner of Finance. In 2008, this legislature delegated to the Commissioner of Finance the ability to assign fund balance, to put it in assigned or unassigned. That doesn't mean it's restricted. That means it's the Commissioner of Finance's, at the time, and again, we're talking about December 31st, 2024, his estimate as to what the rainy day fund might be for things like capital projects, for things like our responsibilities for our pension payments, things that we can put away for a rainy day. But that jumped by several $1 million. So we should keep that in mind when we hear the unassigned fund balance didn't go up. Because while that may be true, the assigned fund balance is really an estimate that could go up and down. It changes all the time. I think Aaron's point right now with respect to if this doesn't go through, you want to put it into a tax stabilization fund. Not a bad idea. But realize that that's one of the assigned fund balances. And we might want to check to see if we can initiate that because we did delegate these powers to the Commissioner of Finance in 2008, if that happens. So my point is we're sitting on a lot of money, folks. Non-restricted fund balance is the largest it's ever been on a budget to fund balance ratio. I think this is the first step in helping to return some of that to the taxpayers. I'm all in favor, I'm a conservative budgeter. I like to think I'm a conservative person when it comes to money. But there is plenty of room, in my opinion, as a legislator only, to return more of the fund balance back to the taxpayers. Whether it's through this program, which, Paul, thank you for putting this forward. It's getting everybody to think and, more importantly, talk about it in public. That's important. But there's a heck of a lot of assigned and unassigned fund balance that I think if the public had a true vision of, they'd rightly be outraged. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Legislator Ellner.
This will be, when we find the correct mechanism, and I'm fairly confident that we can find the appropriate steps to make this happen. Based on a return of $200 to each household, this can be between 4 and 6 times greater than what the, quote, historic tax reduction is going to be. So this, to me, is very meaningful. It's critical that we pass this now because this is the first step, the first domino. If we don't pass this, then we can't even look at the mechanisms. And I said before, I don't care if we call it a credit, a refund, a check, whatever, but a rebate, whatever is necessary to get the $200 into the hands of all those single-family homeowners. That's what I hope can be done. I just wish that I was still going to be on the legislature to help carry that forward. So I am in absolute support of this, and I thank Legislator Jonke for his thinking outside the box and bringing this wonderful initiative forward.
Anyone else? Legislator Montgomery.
I was skeptical of this when we had the discussion in the budget finance meeting. I'm not as skeptical, and I am in support certainly of returning this money and more to the taxpayer. What I would again, we have an ask here without any program. And to Legislator Jonke's point, he's stating, and you're all stating what this is for. There's no resolution stating what this is for. There's no program stating what this is for. My understanding is we're taking this money out of, this money out of the fund balance for it to stop losing interest, and we're putting it into subcontingency. Does the money make interest in the fund balance?
I would defer to, I would think.
It's still in the bank.
I would defer to.
Yeah, it's still in the bank.
Some-
It's not being stuck under somebody's
But
mattress.
once it's in subcontingency, it doesn't continue to make interest? Is that, it still does?
Still-
It's still
Okay.
deposited in
So
the
that's
bank.
off the table, but just a thought. I had a lot of thoughts with this.
Good thought.
So my thought is this, there are many ways we can offer tax relief to Putnam County residents and not just homeowners. I'd love to see money go back to homeowners, and we have beautiful homes in Putnam County. It's more and more difficult to buy a home here. It's more and more difficult to maintain a home here and live here. But let's not exclude anybody, possibly. We don't even know that this is legal. My prediction is it's going to be a very hard sell, and it probably won't be legal just to give this, whatever we're calling it, tax relief in the form of cash back to owner-occupied homes. But what I would propose would be, okay, so my point is, there are many forms of tax relief. We did it with the clothing sales tax. We did it with motor fuel and energy tax relief at one point. We can do it in the form of reducing permits for licensing fees. We could do it in the form of energy-efficient grants. I'm just putting this out there. We don't have a program really for any of these things. We can do it for infrastructure improvements that reduce future local tax pressure. I often and always like to see, well, now we have a permanent, but let's do another temporary exemption for seniors, veterans, volunteer firefighters, EMTs, paramedics, agricultural, or STAR supplements. So these are all ways we can provide this relief to everybody once we have a program. So I'm happy to put this in subcontingency and not lock it into homeowner tax relief. So I would like to amend the agenda item to say tax relief rebate for Putnam County residents and exclude homeowner.
I'll second that.
If I may?
Because it's probably going to be easier, more legal if we do it these ways that are established anyway.
Through the chair.
So we have a second, now we have discussion on, this is this,
Well, it's in there. I don't,
no,
It's on the agenda, it's not on,
It's not on the,
Change it to,
I think
what
that's,
would your motion be, change it to?
tax relief for Putnam County residents.
Okay.
question.
Counsel, did you have a comment for that?
Yeah, I was just going to say that it was a program, it was supposed to be tax relief
Relief
program.
program.
Okay.
All set.
that's
Legislator.
what's in the resolution.
Through the chair to council, does the title of what this is should not matter, correct?
It does for the reasons discussed in executive session.
Was there a second on Nancy's motion?
Yes.
Legislator Crowley, seconded. And now discussion on changing the name to Putnam County Residents Tax Relief Program?
Tax relief for Putnam County residents.
Okay. Legislator Jonke.
Yeah, I'm completely opposed to that because it is meant for homeowners. Some of the items that you mentioned, you went through them quick, but one of them was STAR, continuing with STAR. STAR is school tax relief. That's for homeowners. Some of the things you mentioned were for property owners, okay?
Not all of them.
Not all of them, but when you had an opportunity to cut the sales tax, you voted against it. That's the opportunity. And by the way, bring it up, next time you guys bring it up, I hope you guys reduce the sales tax. But you had an opportunity to grant the relief that you have this desire to you help these people tonight, and you all voted against it. You voted against, and we ended up sending down the hallway a resolution calling for a sales tax cut, and it was vetoed. And we couldn't override the veto. That was the time to grant the relief that you wanted to grant to those people who are not homeowners. I am opposed to any change to the title of this.
Anyone else who hasn't spoken? Legislator Russo.
So I am pro-tax relief for all Putnam County residents, whether you're a homeowner or you're not. Renters help homeowners pay their taxes or their mortgage. So if this is going to be just for homeowners, I understand, but I don't believe we have the proper mechanism in place to do it. I will vote for this, depending on how we change it. We did give residents, all residents, tax relief with the budget, with $110 on footwear and clothing. And then we're also giving back towns money collected on the sales tax that a majority of the legislature didn't want to collect. And my point was that sales tax isn't just collected on residents. It's everyone passing through. So it's, and nobody complains about paying sales tax on an item. They hope the item goes on sale, but they don't say, oh, I wish the tax was cheaper. So that's why I was pro keeping the sales tax at that rate. And I will support any kind of rebate where the taxpayer benefits. I am a homeowner, I pay my bills, I don't have tenants, but I support homeowners who do need the income from a renter. So, that's all.
Anyone else? Legislator Crowley.
I just think with any of these that we need to understand, number one, this is very much like Kathy Hochul's, inflation rebate, and it doesn't provide structural or lasting tax reform. They don't lower taxes, it changes the cost of government, it's just redistributing taxpayer money that's already been collected. It's a one-time deal, which is fine, but it could be misleading, and I think that we need to look into long-term approaches moving forward. A one-shot, again, I'm in favor for supporting our taxpayers, but a one-shot, we did it during COVID, you know what I mean? Like, people rely on more than just that. So this is not long-lasting tax relief. This is not tax, this is something that's sustaining. It's a one-shot.
And we are talking about the change of title. So I'll let Legislator Goldman go because he hasn't spoken yet.
Oh, sorry, Bill.
I like the idea of tax relief for Putnam County residents. We've been advised that the way it's structured, it's not really structured, the way it's mentioned now is not legal. And there's a reason why this hasn't been done before. Last time when I said that, I was told, well, you tried it for the first time. Well, you know what? It's probably not legal, and we're just putting it in subcontingency. So I would support a tax relief for Putnam County residents.
Legislator Montgomery.
If I may, to my list of things that it could be used for, and understandably, a lot of those were for homeowners, but speaking of, let's just say, emergency service technicians, medical technicians, first responders. When I was in an EMT, I was a renter, and it was great to get that $400 check from the state. It wasn't a rebate, it was what I got from, and that doesn't happen, the state doesn't have that program anymore. We did do a lot for tax relief for first responders, but also 3,000 residents in Putnam County are going to lose their SNAP benefits on Saturday. We've closed our child care admissions. It's cut off. So by saying tax relief for Putnam County residents, this could be used for programs for those who have lost. It could be fee reductions or waivers, quasi-tax relief for people who lost their benefits, fiscal relief for often given through DSS. And we have the personnel that knows those programs, knows who the people are, and I don't think it would be a heavy lift, and it would be legal. So I just wanted to point that out. By giving this $200 to homeowner occupied, I mean, that's going to be a wonderful, they're going to be really happy, I'm sure, that when they get that $200 check. And I'm sure it's very meaningful. What I feel like would be more meaningful is how are we going to address these 3,000 people that are losing their SNAP benefits on Saturday? How are we going to do something meaningful for the hardworking people, homeowners and renters, who are closed off from childcare? That's all. So,
Legislator
Great,
Ellner,
sure.
and then Legislator Birmingham.
The intent of this, and we've all said this is the starting point, is to provide property tax relief. And property taxes are paid by the homeowner. Nancy, you've raised some very, very good points, and I would be in agreement with you to make those a secondary program or programs in addition to this program. But this whole concept, as it was explained to me, is for homeowner property tax. So I want to keep this very specific to homeowner property tax relief. That's what it is, but homeowner tax relief. And then exactly what you said, I would love to address all those because I think that those deserve relief also for our residents. And this way we're taking care of people and not institutions.
Legislator Birmingham.
Yeah, to speak on Nancy's amendment, I agree with what she said as far as, I think we should try and give everybody, every resident of Putnam County, some sort of meaningful tax relief. I'm a homeowner in Putnam County. I wasn't always a homeowner in Putnam County, even as an adult. And I think the heavy lift, as Nancy said, is going to be to try and get this, and Paul, you and I have shared this. My initial question was, can we narrow the focus down to just homeowners? And I'm willing to vote for this, calling it the homeowner tax relief program, and that's the reason I'll vote against the amendment. But I think if we pass that hurdle next year by able to narrow it down to like a star, as Paul said, that's only for homeowners. I think that it'll be
Star veterans, too.
Star veterans. I think it'll be a lighter lift, and I'll be all in favor of expanding it, or maybe having a companion bill next to it to like I said, I think the sales tax would have been a good start for that, the sales tax reduction. But I'm over that. That was back in January when I proposed that. And, everything worked out at the end. But I'm going to only vote against the amendment because I think we should take the shot first at the homeowner and see if we can get that somehow legislatively approved, whether we need the state or whether we can do it in another way. And if that happens, I think the lighter lift would be to do it on a broader basis. Having said all that, I think no matter what we call it tonight, I think something is going to pass tonight with this $6.5 million. So I think that's a good start. But I'm going to stick with the name it is now. And if it doesn't pass, I'll still, of course, vote for the program itself.
Well, any further discussion on changing the title of the program?
if I may, I just didn't want to get locked into something with, when we do go to take it out of subcontingency, we're locked into that. There, and again, there is no program. We keep talking about a program. There is no program. So why not leave it open as relief for Putnam County residents? Because we don't have a program.
I have a question.
Anyone else? Legislator
Through the
Ellner.
chair, I have a question for Legislator Montgomery. Nancy, you seem to be more informed than anybody on these,
Not really.
I'm going to call them ancillary programs. Do you have an idea, and I'm sorry to put you on the spot,
I won't.
but do you think that an additional $2 million would accomplish what you're doing? Because if you made a motion for an additional program to take care of one of those, because I think it's critical to keep this as a homeowner, I'm definitely in favor of that, because that's additional tax relief for residents.
I don't have a figure.
We still have,
I mean, we have three, I'm sure we can get that from DSS.
Because I'm
We have-
saying we have to make a budget.
We have
so-
3,000 people who aren't getting SNAP benefits on Saturday. What does that amount to in dollars? I'm not going to put Michelle on the, nobody
Wait,
knows.
Give us an answer.
So.
Any further discussion on
Actually,
changing the name?
I
I'm sorry,
think-
go ahead.
I think it's close to 600,000. So, yeah, monthly, and the total monthly expenditure is about 600,000. Monthly expenditure.
Wow.
Monthly.
So, sure.
So we have a motion on the floor that's been brought up and seconded to change the name of the homeowners tax relief program and change it to, and I'll ask the clerk to read that back because I didn't write it down.
To amend it to the tax relief for Putnam County residents, seconded by Legislator Crowley.
Okay,
Madam Chair, it should be with a program
At
at
the
the
end,
end.
okay.
program.
There's no program. The program is-
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor that's been seconded. If there's no further discussion on this amendment to change the name, I'll ask for a roll call vote to change the original name.
Legislator Adenizio.
No.
Legislator Birmingham.
Respectfully, no.
Legislator Crowley.
Yes.
Legislator Ellner.
No.
Legislator Goulman.
Yes.
Legislator Jonke.
No.
Legislator Montgomery.
Yes.
Legislator Russo.
Yes.
Chairwoman Sage.
No.
Motion carries.
Thanks for considering.
Okay, so now we're back to the original vote to put $6.5 million into a homeowner tax relief program into subcontingency. Any further discussion on this item? Legislator Goulman.
Thank you, Chairwoman. We all know property taxes in Putnam County are very high compared to the national average. We rank about the highest in the nation. This has put a very big strain on many homeowners' budgets, which is making it very difficult to live here in Putnam County. Property values have skyrocketed in recent years, raising almost 27% faster than the rate of inflation over the last several years. I am sure we all agree that more must be done to make our community financially viable to live here. We need to focus on sound tax policy solutions. This is why I voted, and most of us in this room have voted for a few things in the last few years. Extending the tax-free purchases on clothing for shoes and clothes less than $110 online and in stores. Enacted a new property tax exemption for volunteer firefighters and ambulance workers the last few years. We have slashed the county debt by more than $30 million. Much different, isn't it? 2023, $7,898,659. 2024, $6,828,628. 2025, $5,168,564,000. 2026, we project to cut $10,564,190. We have prioritized spending by starting the new Putnam On Demand program. It's a great program. This will save taxpayers and everyone who lives in Putnam County, make it more affordable and easier to get around in the county. I've stood with the towns and villages, and most of us have also, for the historic agreement to share a portion of the sales tax revenue with them. This will give money back to the towns to pay for the infrastructure that's really needed in the towns. Also, most of us have voted for the largest property tax cut in Putnam County history. This specific item, which we're going back and forth on, but on the agenda it says homeowners tax relief rebate, only puts the money aside in a contingency part of the budget. It's not a rebate check, which I want the audience to know that, because people might think they're getting a rebate check if it passes. It gives the legislature more time to get advice, discussion, and review this type of concept, since we've only learned about this 2 weeks ago. We have been advised that this plan, as specified, is not lawful. More investigation has to be done. We have to reach out to the state controller, the New York State Legislature, and possibly the IRS. If this is not lawful and cannot go through next year, then what Legislator Crowley suggested is a very good idea. Putting it into some type of stabilization fund, which we will discuss next year if this does not go through. Because of this, I will be voting for this, and I hope that my colleagues also will support this 100% so we can move forward.
Legislator Birmingham.
Yeah, on the underlying bill itself, yeah, I'm going to be voting, of course, in favor of it as well. I think it's a good thing to do, or to explore at least, and not to disagree necessarily with anything Bill said, but I think anytime there's a new idea, sometimes it's uncomfortable. Anytime we do something that might seem out of the norm, I mean, I'm a pretty conservative guy. I like rules. I like, it's never been done that way before. How can we do it? How can we think of doing it? You know, without change, without exploring new options, things will never change. And we have a real affordability issue here not only in Putnam County, but throughout this country. And a lot of it falls on the backs of the homeowners. And if this doesn't fail, if this passes tonight and is approved by the county executive, and then say all the hoops that we have to jump through don't materialize, the worst thing that will happen is that this money will still be in subcontingency, still be, I assume, getting interest paid on it, and to the extent we might want to put it somewhere else for tax levy relief, we could do that, or a tax stabilization fund. We could do that. We might have to revisit that 2008 resolution, though, delegating the powers to the Commissioner of Finance for assigned fund balance, and we can do that. We can always do that. You know, we can always take that power back. But Paul, thanks for thinking out of the box. This is a good idea, and nothing ventured, nothing gained. Thank you.
Anyone else? I mean, I'd like to say that I do support this. I know we have a long way to go. It might be an uphill battle, but I think we should put the taxpayer first on the list. This money is coming out of the taxpayer's pocket. This is coming, when we do the budget, we're determining what percentage we're going to add to their tax bill for the homes that they live in. So we're trying to figure out how much we're going to charge the homeowner in taxes. It's only right that we send this money back to the taxpayer. Who pays the bill? The taxpayer knows best what to spend their money on, whether they're going to spend it on groceries, whether they're going to spend it on their cable bill, their electricity, put it in their gas tank. They know better what they need than government does. And it's time that we put the taxpayer first, which we tried to do when we were discussing the sales tax issue, which we spoke, and I'm pretty proud of this legislature. We didn't agree, and we had some really contentious arguments, but we discussed it over and over and over again, and when we didn't get it the way we thought it should be, we tabled it and we sent it to another meeting. We had a lot of discussion on this, and I know we all didn't have the same idea, but we did talk about it extensively, and we finally came down to sharing it with the towns, which of course benefits all of our towns, but we put the towns first on this one. I think it's time that we put the homeowners first, and if we can do it, I'm all for it. Legislator Montgomery.
Thank you for letting me talk. The difference here is what we had at that time was a conversation with the state, and we had state enabling.
Correct, and that's what we're doing here. We're going to have a conversation.
Nobody has spoken to the state. We don't have any.
But we will.
Okay.
At the time, when we initially discussed the sales tax, we did not have that discussion with the state. When we put this on the agenda back in January or February, we hadn't had those discussions at that time. It only went through later.
Has
We-
anybody had a conversation with their state representative about that state enabling legislation?
We're talking about the sharing of the sales tax.
No, I'm
Nancy
talking
has the
about,
floor.
I'm talking about this mechanism, this program, I guarantee you, will require state enabling legislation.
And we're putting it aside so that we can have that discussion. The time to do that is during the budget process, and this is a budget process where we put that money aside. And again, as many of our fellow legislators have said, if it's impossible, if it can't happen, it goes back to the taxpayer, back into our checking account or savings account, and we can use it for something else. But I think it's time we put the taxpayer first and we give it a shot. I think they're worth it. Any further discussion? Okay, we'll have a roll call vote, please, on the original.
Legislator Adenazio?
Yes.
Legislator Birmingham?
Yes.
Legislator Crowley?
Yes.
Legislator Ellner?
Yes.
Legislator Goulman?
Yes.
Legislator Jonke?
Yes.
Legislator Montgomery?
Yes.
Legislator Russo?
Yes.
Chairwoman Sage?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Agenda item 5 is other business. Does anyone have any other business? Legislator Ellner.
Yes, I apologize for not having this pre-filed, but I've heard...
So we have to make a motion to add other business to the agenda.
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second to add other business?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
In page 251, 2587-500-5455.
Slow down.
Can you say that quicker?
Yeah, 251.
There's only 2 items at the top of the page. It
Okay.
is
I don't know what we're talking about yet till we
It is the
get
first item
there.
here, okay?
Cooperative extension.
The title of the page is Tilly Foster Agricultural Program.
Yes. Okay. The requested line item was $11,811. And the tentative was increased by $25,000, so there was not even an ask for this. And this was for a position of an ag navigator, which I believe is much better served at no cost to the county by members of the Agricultural and Farmland Protection Board. So my motion is to reduce by $25,000 to the original ask of $11,811.
Is there a second on that?
Second.
Discussion on reducing the ag navigator, the $25,000 out of the Tilly Foster Agricultural Program. Legislator Crowley.
So I think that soil and water, like we've talked about, would be a great funding source for this program. But I do think that we do need it, and I would love to see it sourced through soil and water. Again, I would defer to our 2 favorite people that are not here right now, but usually speak up. I would love to see it sourced through there. They've talked about it, we've all heard it. But I do think that after our past couple years of growing pains with this particular board, that we do need it. And we did lose the USDA grant that was supplementary to this position. And this person that would be taking on this role has been able to get us several $1 million and do wonderful things with it through Cornell Cooperative. And I think that an ag navigator, as part of that person's job, is foolish if we don't use it. We've gotten sued twice now. Why would we not want to have somebody that works, 0.30% of their 40 hours on the ag and markets to give back to education and laws and the farm plan to help out the planning department that we're going to be working on? I just don't understand why we wouldn't want to help out Commissioner Barroso, who has definitely expressed her support in this and her wanting help on this. because it's a lot to undertake on top of what she does on top of it. So that's just my feeling.
Legislator Adenizio.
Yeah, we discussed this last week, but I guess I'm a little confused because the Ag Navigator can be a member of the Ag and Farmland Protection Board. So we already have that ability to fill this role from within. So I don't know why it was put into the budget for Cornell Cooperative Extension. Right now, this would allow a current board member to serve as liaison and a public point of contact for all agricultural matters. And if we use somebody that's on the board, and I know Legislator Crowley last week asked me who I would choose, and that's not up to me because I'm not familiar with anybody on the board. That would be up to the board to choose somebody. But this would maintain continuity and accountability. Since that, wait a minute,
is on the board.
I'm speaking. Since the person would be familiar with all local issues, state issues, I don't believe we need to add another layer of government, and that's just my opinion. Thank you.
Anyone else who hasn't spoken?
I guess I can
Legislator
go.
Montgomery.
It's just going to be a lot. I've had conversations with the Ag Board, I've had conversations with Cornell Cooperative, and I think we're all in agreement that the goal here is to strengthen agriculture in Putnam County and to give our farming community the tools and the support they need. That's something I think we all support. Cornell Cooperative Extension has been the most outstanding partner for us in Putnam County in that work for agriculture, actually for years. The staff are knowledgeable, trusted, and they have deep relationships with our agricultural community. That's not my concern here. My concern tonight is it's not whether we value Cornell Cooperative or this position. And I'm hesitating because I have an idea and I'm trying to put it all together. So it's not, the question is how this position is structured and who created it. What I learned in my conversations is this person will report to the executive director of Cornell Cooperative, but it was created with a contract that we haven't seen possibly, maybe with the county executive. But under New York state law, the Agricultural and Farmland Protection Board, which is created by this legislature, operates under our authority. So it's our responsibility to ensure that agriculture, planning, farmland protection, and ag district oversight remain with the legislative purview. So if this funding is promised to Cornell Cooperative through a direct agreement negotiated by the county executive without a clear legislative framework, that shifts the balance of authority. And that way it could weaken the role of the legislature on the ag board. So I don't think this has to be an either or. We can support Cornell Cooperative. I think I did say at the last meeting, I don't know if I really don't think I want to see this money taken out of Cornell Cooperative. I want to see them supported as much as we can, and we have the money in the fund balance. And I would just rather not take this out, but change the title to Ag Grants Navigator. Instead of an Ag Navigator that influences, supports the Ag Board, it's a Grants Navigator that can seek out those grants that are much needed. So that way the county executive, the legislature, Cornell Cooperative, and the farming community are all working together, the way it's structured by New York state law. So again, I need to be clear, my concern isn't this particular position or who would fill this role. I really want to see this position remain in some other name for Cornell Cooperative, but my concern's with the process, and we shouldn't create positions through agreements that we don't know about and promises without our legislative framework.
Anyone else who hasn't spoken yet? And I know you've spoken, I'm sorry. I just want to make sure everyone has the opportunity to speak first. I mean, I tend to agree with Legislator Montgomery on this. This is creating an ag navigator position outside of the purview of the legislative process. When I'm speaking with the ag board, they came in here and were adamant that they did not need an ag navigator and that they did not want to use taxpayer money to fund a $25,000 ag navigator that they don't even need. And they also discussed about partnering with Soil and Water, who supports farming, to providing the grant services that we're talking about for an ag navigator. And that way, everything is neatly within the purview without skewing the lines of the legislative authority of the ag board. And what if, I mean, I don't know what the conflicts would be, but what kind of a conflict would come between, say, someone whose salary is coming from, the promises of the executive branch, and if that was in direct conflict with the views of the legislative authority for the ag district? What if they were, if somebody's applying for a grant and they want to give it to this person over here, but the ag board says, no, we think, per our ag plan, it should go to this person over here. I think that's a conflict as far as an ag navigator. So I would not be I would be in favor of the original proposal, yes. Anyone else? So I'll go to Legislator Crowley first, and then Legislator Montgomery.
So the ag board needs to be neutral because they advise the legislature. They cannot be put themselves in a position to advocate for specific farmers. The ag navigator can help the public apply with the ag board and Soil and Water find grants and et cetera. So I don't understand here what the issue is.
Legislator Montgomery.
I'd like to amend Legislator Ellner's motion and put $25,000 in subcontingency until we see the agreement with the county executive and Tilly Foster, and propose changing the name, the title from Ag Navigator to Ag Grants Navigator.
Through the chair. Through the chair. But before I accept that amendment, I have a question. If the money goes into sub-contingency here, is it still earmarked for this 8750, or is it completely separate and come under the purview of just the legislature?
It'll be in some contingency for the purpose of the ag.
Yeah, so the county executive can take it out. and put it
Okay,
for
so
the-
for that reason, I respectfully decline.
I
accepting
don't
the
understand.
amendment.
You could still get a second on your amendment,
Still get a
though.
second on
You-
it.
You don't have one yet, but you could get one,
Yeah.
and then we'd vote on that.
Right, or I could just accept it and there's no second necessary, that's why.
So but you might want to ask for a second
Okay,
first.
can we have, and then we'll have a discussion. Can I have a second on that motion?
Can you repeat the motion?
I'll second it for discussion, but just for
Okay, the
discussion.
motion was to amend Legislator Ellner's motion to take $25,000 out of Tilly Foster's budget. We don't even know what it's for, really. There's nothing in front of us that it says this is for an ag navigator. That's what we were told. But I'd like to see the proposal for this, and we don't have that. Therefore, put it in subcontingency until a time. Or is it possible for us to approve this, keep the $25,000 in, which I might make a motion to keep it in, and contingent on that the title changes to an ag grants navigator, or whatever name we decide? Can we put a contingency on, a general line item in the budget, Tilly Foster Ag Program?
Madam Chair.
Poor
Legislator
Michelle.
Birmingham. Oh, go ahead. Are we waiting for the,
You want to?
Oh, can I ask Michelle? I'll put her on the spot.
Put it in a contingency.
No, I'm asking, can we approve this? Let's suppose we're not motioning to take the 25,000 out. but we make a motion to change the title to Ag Grants Navigator and keep the 25,000 in. Can we put some kind of requirement on this approval? It's sort of like a Robert's rule.
If I could, and again, I'm not an auditor, but from what I understand, because Cornell is a separate entity from the county, we interact with them through a contract, and the county executive is the one, it's his role to negotiate and sign contracts. I seconded your motion because I think that's a compromise, because Greg's initial motion just takes it out of the budget completely. And so it decreases this budget line by 25,000. Your motion does the same with respect to the decrease, but keeps the $25,000 in the budget in subcontingency.
For Tilly Foster.
For Tilly Foster, and we could mark it, well, for an ag navigator.
No.
No, okay, then
There's nothing, I mean,
Yeah,
there's
okay.
nothing.
Grant writer.
There's nothing saying it's for an ag navigator. We would just be
Right.
taking it out of the line item, but
We could, though, designate it to something similar to what we did earlier tonight with respect to, the property, the homeowner thing. We could put it in subcontingency and call it Ralph or whatever, whatever, yeah. I mean, and we'd have to be more serious than I just was. But we'd have to give it some purpose so that when it came out, and maybe a compromise might be ag grant / navigator role. And because it's in subcontingency, unlike the earlier problem we had tonight where with the tourism, we really couldn't have a development line because there's no line for it. If we put it in subcontingency under ag navigator / grants writer or, whatever, that way it can only come out with our permission once we see a plan and once we require that to be in a contract, and we could even put a restriction on the use of funds at that point, once we see a contract. I think that might, and, I don't want to, minimize
Counsel.
Greg's thing, but I think that might be a compromise.
I'll let counsel weigh in here.
Through the chair, and this was addressed, we had a speaker from Dutchess County who came to explain the Dutchess County navigator rule, and I just would like to provide some clarity, just because I have had some involvement in agriculture matters. It's a miracle. But just to give clarity, the agricultural board is an advisory board to this legislature. Their role is to advise you in a neutral way about their assessment regarding various, applications that are made for them. They also have an 8-year, agricultural plan, which is supposed to further agricultural needs and education and programs and things of that nature. But it's all supposed to be done in a neutral fashion. That places a difficulty on the public seeking to get into the ag district because these things are complicated. We learned firsthand that these things are complicated. And so the role of the ag navigator is supposed to be a forward-facing role to assist the public. And as Cornell Cooperative explained, they're happy to assist soil and water with grants. They're happy to assist in these other capacities because that's all within their purview in a forward-facing way. The reason that the ag boards themselves would not be appropriate to do that because they would be put in a sort of double bind situation where on the one hand, they have to evaluate these applications that are coming in, and on the other hand, they were supposedly helping the person fill out the application. That wouldn't be a tenable situation to be in, and that was why this role was envisioned, and the Dutchess County gentleman came and explained. And they're not mutually exclusive, that there's nothing to prevent the ag navigator from assisting soil and water in the capacity they wanted to. There's nothing to prevent them from helping to identify grants and do these things. But that was the general premise of the rule, just in case there was confusion about that, without taking any position.
Legislator Goldman had his hand up.
Thank you. Remember what happened last year? We were sued twice. It was a major issue. We didn't approve any forms. We went back and forth multiple times. We didn't know what to do. No one knew the procedure. No one knew the process. It was a major problem. And some meetings we couldn't discuss it because we were in a lawsuit. So the way it's set up right now, I think it's a good idea. And based on what council just said, I agree more than what I did before. If we give the money to the ag district, they might have a conflict. So, recommending forms, but then also turning one down, maybe? That's a conflict. Then we're going to be sued again. And is the ag district going to be sued? No. It's going to be all of us in the county going to be sued. So I can't approve this.
Legislator Birmingham.
Yeah, if we take a look at 4X, we already passed this tonight. This might be a kind of an in-between type of accommodation. You can either put it in subcontingency or take it out completely from the budget, or a third option would be to put it in just as similar to the way we did with the agricultural board, the 2,500. If you recall, we voted on this tonight, but last week we decreased planning by 1,000 and went up to, at the end of the day, 5,000 today under 4X for agricultural board under the legislature's budget. And that would go a long way, I think, to fulfill Nancy's concern with respect to this is our board, and we don't, I don't mean to say it's our board, it comes under our purview. I don't want to sound possessive about it. But this would preserve the independence if we moved it out of Cornell and into the legislature's line as a separate line from the one that's already there for agricultural board. At least then, this legislature would have the option to be presented with a plan for whether it's navigation or funds or grant writing. That only at that point, who releases our funds? Is it the clerk or is it the chair? Who signs off on our vouchers for the legislature? The clerk. So then, yeah, the chair or the clerk. So that's an idea. I'm not making a motion to amend, but I'm just throwing that out there. That might be an option too, to put it into the same line that the 4X one went into.
Okay, I'm just a little confused right now, so let's just restate where we are.
Oh.
We are, we have a motion on the floor to put $25,000 into
Subcontingency, which amends Greg's amendment to take it out completely.
I'll second that.
Well, sorry.
Sorry.
Been seconded, and
Yeah.
that's our discussion at this point.
So right now, we're discussing the second amendment, which, Nancy, if I'm correct, is to put it into subcontingency. Was that everybody's understanding? And as opposed to taking out of the budget itself, which was Greg's initial amendment.
Right.
Or motion, actually. It's a motion to, it's a motion.
And to clarify,
So the amendment to the amendment is what we're discussing now that Nancy brought up.
Actually, it's not an amendment to an amendment, it's an amendment to a motion. Greg's motion was to take it out of the budget, 25,000.
Yeah.
Nancy made a motion, I seconded to amend that motion to not take it out of the budget, but put it in subcontingency.
Okay, so
And
if there's no further discussion on,
I have a question.
okay, legislator.
Where in subcontingency, what line would that be in, you said?
Well, subcontingency,
Same line.
yeah, it
Same
would be
line.
the same line, but it would be given like a little bucket, a name, and I think that's what...
Under Tilly Foster?
Yes.
Okay, my
we
second
get
part of
clarification on
my
ag
question is
navigator.
that if we do the 25,000, is that, it's like a salary just for a grant writer, is that a large increase just for writing grants, is my question, for $25,000?
It's a supplement, I think, the person who's
We
already
could-
in that position.
I know, but it's 25,000
We could
supplement.
come up with a different title between now and when we take it out of subcontingency. I mean, the person's doing the work now already. The person is supporting the agricultural board now. She sits on the ag board. But my problem isn't even having her named as the ag navigator. My problem is with the process by which the legislature has control over, legislature doesn't have control over the ag board, but
We appoint.
the governance of the ag board.
And I agree.
And that, so, between now and when it comes out of subcontingency, we'll have a clear program of that personnel who will be hired by cooperation with Cornell Cooperative, the ag board, and the legislature. And hopefully it'll be the person that's doing it now.
She's very talented.
Yes.
Legislator Ellner, you had it.
My concern with this change here is that, as Dan pointed out very, very clearly, this is a contract position that comes from the county executive. I would feel more comfortable if we put it into subcontingency in a legislative-controlled budget.
Well,
But
in any, but, well.
we're discussing, I'm just
Yeah,
telling you my.
Just
my
the
opinion.
legislature, by the very nature of what we do, we are the ones that determine what comes out of subcontingency. So,
Right, but it's limited to, if, the way this motion structure, amendment is structured now, is it remains strictly in the Tilly Foster, so we're now subject to the contract which the county executive has initiated with Cornell Cooperative, which we have never seen any specifics to this position. So in my mind, we're ceding authority of the legislature to the county executive, and that's where I have some difficulty.
I think the very nature that the Ag Board will be involved with this, and it could be simple as the hiring safeguards. Cornell Cooperative shall consult with the Agricultural and Farmland Protection Board. The Ag Board has legislative authority over it. So by that essence, I still think.
But they didn't want this.
No.
No, they don't, but they're gonna, hopefully they'll cooperate, they'll cooperate with Cornell Cooperative and the legislature in this position, and, you know, it just prevents that unilateral appointment, maybe that, I know it's not gonna be by the county executive, it is a unilateral appointment by the Cornell Cooperative Extension, not us, and it's an ag navigator supporting agriculture, and the ag district is created by the legislature. It just, I think we have to work it out.
yeah, and if to Greg's point, by putting it in subcontingency, we're kind of in a very legal way, but a backdoor way, we are participating in the contract process, because taking things out of subcontingency or moving any budget line during the year is a completely discretionary act of this legislature. Without being arbitrary and capricious at all, we could ask to see the proposed contract for this position, or for this task. And if a majority of this board isn't happy with that almost signed contract, we can say, no, we're not going to move this money out.
Legislator Crowley was next.
So we just moved, originally on the table before was $10,000 for education for the Ag Board, right? That's what was proposed by Legislator Ellner, correct?
No,
Oh, sorry. I apologize, Greg. So
it was a compliment to you.
So we're all looking at this through a lens that we want to help and expand and give them knowledge and give them resources. So I don't understand why giving another resource is problematic, and putting it in subcontingency is fine with me. I don't have a problem with it, but I'm not, I don't have a problem with it. I think that it's great that we're giving them resources, education, that's what we're trying to do here, but I don't understand why, if we move it to subcontingency, we have the power then to make the decision if we're going to allow this position or not allow this position, or fund this position or not. As you said, Legislator Montgomery, this person is already doing the work. It's already being done. This person does sit on the Ag Board. This person is very good at grants too, and is very knowledgeable. So, if we're going to fund them for education, and I sit on the board too, if we're going to fund them for education and other things, I do think that it would be a good thing to have an ag navigator, because we have been lacking that education and that directive. And, whatever the logistics may be through Cornell Cooperative, I think the president there does oversee that person. They are employed by Cornell Cooperative. They do have a contract with the county, but moving it into subcontingency, I'm perfectly okay with. But I don't see how we can fund one thing for education, but then not give them another resource as well.
I want it. I want something funded.
See-
I don't want to take it away.
Which side?
to me, a very simple part of this whole equation is the Ag Board, multiple members on the Ag Board reached out to me as Chairman of Physical Services and said, we don't want this. So I want to respect the wishes of the Ag Board on this. They were very, very clear. They don't want this, which is why my original motion was to take it out. And I think maybe it might be time to call the question.
I didn't
You
know
making a
that.
motion?
Okay. I wasn't aware that.
Are you making a motion to call a question? Is that what
No, I don't want to, I don't want to stall, just as a suggestion, because I don't know how much more discussion we can have.
I
on
might
this.
vote, I'm probably going to vote against the amendment on that.
For sub-contingency.
So then it would, oh,
Okay.
sorry, through the chair, then it would result back into just not funding it at all?
We haven't voted on that
That's
one
the
yet.
floor.
That's,
The motion.
the motion is to put it into sub-contingency instead of the original, that to not fund it. And then it would go back to the original of not funding it, and then we would have to vote on that.
And if that fails, it would go back to being in the budget and voting on that.
Correct. Well, no, because we
No, it's
already voted
It's
on
already
it.
in the budget.
In the budget,
Then it would
right.
just fail.
Okay, yeah,
And it would
okay.
go back to the original. Am I correct? Okay. I'm tired.
You're definitely correct.
Legislator.
I just want to clarify my reason for the motion to put it in sub-contingency, and it's not to take the resource away from Cornell Cooperative. It's to clarify the resource and compromise with the Ag Board, and to make sure that we're continuing to strengthen agriculture in Putnam County, but we need to make sure that whatever this role is, it supports, not supplants, the Agriculture and Farmland Protection Board. The legislature created the Ag Board under state law. It should remain under legislative oversight. So we have to figure out how we're going to do that with this position that the county executive created with Cornell Cooperative. Does that make sense?
Legislator Adenizio.
It's my understanding that the Ag Board had no knowledge of this position, this going in. So they were not consulted or spoken to regarding this. And I go back to my original question, why can that not be a member that's already there, already with the resources there? Why can't we use somebody already that's on the Ag Board
Well,
as a navigator?
if I may, the Ag Board, by nature, does everything an Ag Navigator would
Yes.
do. The Ag Board as a whole actually does that. But
Right.
we've found that, and counties throughout the state have found that they needed more support, and have created Ag Navigators. But like Essex, they're not always called Ag Navigators. They're, sorry, I have it in here somewhere. And you can just disregard me if you want, because I do have it. There's a lot of notes here that I can't even see through, so. But like Essex County has, that, we all know about Dutchess County, right? Essex County, they all have a different kind of name. Allegheny County, the Soil and Water Conservation District hires an agricultural environmental manager. Genesee County, the Soil and Water Conservation District has an AEM, Agriculture Environmental Management Planner Technician. Suffolk County is currently recruiting an environmental planner for their Soil and Water Conservation District.
But they're not doing it through Cornell or anything. They're
But
doing
other
it
counties
themselves.
like Dutchess has it
Right.
through Cornell. So we just need some time, I think, to work with the Ag Board, the legislature, the county executive, and Cornell Cooperative, so that we have legislative say in this. And according to the Ag Board, they don't want to call it an Ag Navigator. They want to create some other kind of position, maybe through the Soil and Water District. I don't want to see this money taken out of Cornell Cooperative's budget, because God knows they can use the resources, and we can put it in sub-contingency while that position is created. We know we need something, and then let the Soil and Water District or the Ag Board create what they think they need at some other time.
Okay, so,
Through the chair, also, one of the things that was discussed at the last meeting was the reimbursement of this through soil and water. There's nothing to prevent application being made for reimbursement through soil and water this coming year, though they have the Part C funds to do it. So it, whether this is funded or not funded, put in some contingency, whatever, could still remain to be seen. It doesn't necessarily have to be a continuing taxpayer burden, but none of this has been worked out. If the position doesn't exist and it isn't preliminarily funded, it can't be reimbursed.
Okay, I have a question regarding that. So if it's funded through soil and water, like you just mentioned, you're saying they could fund their own navigator?
It would be, what is proposed right now is through Cornell Cooperative.
I understand.
And what I'm saying is that right now, it's proposed to use taxpayer funds to do that.
Correct.
Application can be made, and again, it would be up to Soil and Water whether they wanted to vote in favor of it, but application could be made for the county to be reimbursed by Soil and Water for that role, and/or in the future that we would fund that through Part C in some sort of application. These are all hypotheticals of things, but I just want to make it clear that it just because you fund it now doesn't mean, number one, that it couldn't happen, that it'd be applied to be reimbursed, and it doesn't mean necessarily you'd have to fund it forever if something like that had worked out. I think what Legislator Montgomery, and correct me if I'm misunderstanding you, but I think what she's proposing is that we fund it into subcontingency temporarily so that all of these things could be discussed and sorted out without taking someone who's already doing a role, performing a job, helping, without defunding the Cornell Cooperative budget in that. That's what my.
So for me, Cornell Cooperative did not request this money. In fact, when the director came in, she wasn't even really sure. She said it was something that the administration put in for ag navigator position. We've had our ag board come in here and say they don't want it. We've had our soil and water board come in here and say that they would fund their own ag navigator for that position, and they didn't want to use taxpayer money to do so. So those are pretty strong arguments to me to go back to the original. So I don't think I would even vote to put it in subcontingency just for those purposes. I do think that the Ag Board has an appetite for an Ag Navigator, but to be funded, as Council just stated, through Soil and Water, and therefore it would be an asset to the actual Ag Board as opposed to an outside agency, I'll say. So for those reasons, I won't be voting to put it in subcontingency. I would prefer to have it the original motion. So
The original motion,
the original motion to take it out altogether. But right now, what we have on the floor is to put it in subcontingency. So with that, I don't know how much more discussion we're going to have on this, because I think everybody has their opinions.
We buried this.
And I think I would like to call a question at this point to vote on the amendment to put it into subcontingency for $25,000. And I'll ask for a roll call vote on that.
Legislator Adnesio.
No.
Legislator Birmingham.
Yes.
Legislator Crowley.
just to repeat, this is to put it into
Put it in
subcontingency?
subcontingency, correct.
Yes.
Legislator Ellner.
No.
Legislator Bullman.
Yes.
Legislator Jonke.
No.
Legislator Montgomery.
Yes, I'd want to just say 25,000, even if they change it to Grants Navigator, $25,000 for a grant writer is not a lot.
Legislator Russo.
Yes.
And Chairwoman Sage.
No.
Motion carries.
Okay. So just to be clear on the motion, that was an amendment to the original motion. So this is passed now? I just want to make sure we don't have another vote to take on this.
Dan,
I'll
my head is
defer to-
spinning.
Yeah, I'll defer.
Now we're voting
We have-
on putting 25,000 in subcontingency.
We passed
Has to put it into-
we passed the amendment to the original
Yeah,
motion. So now we have another
We have
vote.
to vote as amended now.
right.
So now we're voting as amended.
Greg's motion was to take it completely out of the
Right.
budget. The motion that just passed was to keep $25,000 in,
And put it in subcontingency.
yes, in the budget, but to put it into subcontingency. So at the end of the day, that 36,811 line, if this now coming up vote passes, that line will be decreased by 24,000 to back to the 11,811. So,
Because it will be, because it's in
25,000.
sub-contingency.
because it'll be in sub-contingency. It's still in the budget, but it's sub-contingency, and we have to pull it out of sub-contingency. And again, that's a discretionary act. If we don't like the direction that the contract is taking, as legislators, we can say, no, we're going to keep it in sub-contingency.
So a no vote on-
Until we hear from our group, our appointed officials, meaning the ad board, whether they're satisfied.
So, and just to be clear, a no vote on this original, this amendment
Keep the budget
would,
as it is.
would keep it in the budget as is, and it would keep the budget line as 36,811.
No vote?
A no vote would,
I have a question.
I know, we'll keep it.
a no vote on putting it in
And a yes
sub-contingency.
would put it in sub-contingency?
Kevin's
Yeah, correct.
A no vote on putting it sub-contingency
Okay.
would leave it at the original amount.
I think a no vote would mean to leave the county executive's budget in this line alone. A yes vote would be to take $25,000 out of this, the county executive's budget, and put it in sub-contingency.
You have to go back.
So that's a yes vote. If you vote yes, you're taking it out of the county executive's budget and putting it in sub-contingency. If you vote no, you're voting to keep the county executive's budget the way it is with respect to this line.
Not to shoot myself in the foot, but if it fails, then it would go back to Greg's original motion.
No, it won't.
No,
No.
no, your motion's,
No,
my motion.
No, then it would just.
Never mind.
You killed it.
Voted to
Yeah.
overturn this. You voted to
To amend
overturn
it.
this.
Gotcha.
I have a question.
Legislator Ellner.
To the auditor.
Yes, with sub-contingency.
I wanted to clarify, when we put it in sub-contingency, it has to stay in this Cornell Cooperative Tilly Foster. We can't put it in sub-contingency in a legislative-controlled account.
No, it'll be in sub-contingency.
It's a legislative
We'll
control.
move it on.
Is there a way of moving it to a legislative-controlled account?
Contingency is legislative.
You can move the 25,000 to your budget line in the legislative budget.
If I could just get some clarity on sub-contingency. We have generic, well, not generic, we have categories of sub-contingency that we just kind of name so that we remember next year why in October 29, 2025, the legislature put $25,000 in there. When we take it out of sub-contingency, we could direct it at that time for what the funds are going to be used for by putting it into another budget line. You see, by putting it in sub-contingency doesn't mean it has to return to Cornell Cooperative Extension next year.
It does.
It does?
Yes.
Okay.
Sub-contingency has categories.
Do we have general sub-contingency?
That
can't
would be
change it at this time?
contingency, and that would just be,
Oh,
but that would be.
That has to be
you need approval
confirmation.
for all
Yeah,
of it.
we need confirmation on that one.
do we need approval for both of them?
County
You would,
executive. Commissioner.
either way, I believe the finance department would
Right.
have to make a transfer.
Even to take it out of sub-contingency in a specific account. So if we put it in general contingency, it's no different.
No, but it's not set aside for this purpose. This is for.
We're going to count on you to remember that, though.
Well, that's why on the audit report, you have contingency report, sub-contingency, and each budget line is separate.
Yeah.
So it can't be used for anything but that purpose. And it needs a resolution to come out of sub-contingency.
Just like it needs a resolution to come out of contingency.
Crowley, you had your hand up first, and then Legislator
Through
Adenisi.
the chair to Michelle.
Yes.
If it's in contingency, does it need to be certified by the county exec as well?
Well, contingencies, is really, if something's wrong, I don't have the funding. it is-
Right, so it's not just easy to pull it out. It needs to be certified to some degree.
It would have to go through. the
707.
finance department,
Yeah,
and they would-
it's not as easy.
But sub-contingency, it still has to go through 707.
Sub-contingency, though, at least it's put aside and it's up to our discretion to pull from. It's up legislative
We still
discretion.
need their
We do, but it's different, correct? It's a different process.
Correct. It's similar to maybe Arts Council, that the money was put in contingency for the purpose of coming back to discuss.
Legislator Adenisi, you had a
Wait,
question
we're
also.
still talking to
Oh, I'm sorry, I
Michelle.
thought you were done. If there's a lot going on here, I don't know where we are.
So, but the sub-contingency would be reserved, and it would be able to happen. You had a committee meeting, discussed
Right.
between all the.
But if it went into contingency, then what would be the process for us to pull from contingency? What, it would, it's not, it's not the,
It's better to have it in a subcontingency because it's reserved. The 25,000 is separate, nobody can use it, it won't run out. If you don't take it out, it'll stay in there and it'll just go into surplus at the end of the year.
so we don't need it certified if it's in contingency.
Certified, you would have to make a motion, I guess, to the finance department to prepare a budgetary amendment to take it out and then put it up.
And we don't need the county execs
He would have to.
to sign off. So for, that's my point, is contingency needs a sign off
For both.
for
Yeah,
both.
right, for both.
But he signs off after, so does he have to sign off before to pull it out of contingency? But sub-contingency, he signs off after when we pass it,
It would be before the budgetary amendment or transfer.
but after we vote. Because the transfers are made, right,
Before,
until
it
he
would
signs?
have to be prepared. County exec does sign off.
I just have a question. So it can be vetoed then by the county executive?
If we put it into sub-contingency back to the veto.
Anything.
Right.
Right, and then it would just go back to the original, and then we would have to override that or not override that.
I think you may have done the math for us, Tony.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Okay, so, we are back to voting, to put it into
So with all that information,
I know.
you vote no.
We don't know.
What?
We don't know where we're
Vote
voting.
yes, it goes into subcontingency.
Vote yes, if I may clarify, vote yes, it goes into sub-contingency. Vote no, it's as printed in the original budget on page 251.
So we wasted, yeah. See, yeah.
So, I
Ruh-roh.
will ask the board also to put it into sub-contingency. Legislator Adizio.
Yes. Yes. I don't know if my mic was on.
Legislator Birmingham.
Yes.
Legislator Crowley.
No.
Legislator Ellner.
Yes.
Legislator Goulman.
No.
Legislator Jonke.
Yes.
Legislator Montgomery.
Yes.
Legislator Russo.
No.
And Chairwoman Sage.
Yes.
Motion carries.
6-3.
Sub-contingency.
So that amount is 25,000 is put into sub-contingency for the purposes of Tilly Foster Ag Program. To be discussed at a later date.
And hopefully-
Again.
Yeah, hopefully developed into something that everybody can live with.
Any, that was other business. Any further other business? Legislator Birmingham.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to, we've talked a lot about it over the last couple of months, in this year, actually. We do have a food insecurity problem here in Putnam County. We do have a poverty problem here in Putnam County. We live in one of the 12 most wealthiest counties in America, and yet I think in each of our districts, certainly in mine, there's a significant level of food insecurity and poverty, surprisingly. We did do make some great strides, I think, this year, both in the reallocation of some of our outside agency funds, in particular to Second Chance Foods. We approved that again tonight. It's going to go to the county executive for passage or veto. But they're not the only organization in the county that does help those folks who are experiencing food insecurity. We have food pantries in all parts of our county, in every town, I would gather to say. And I know Second Chance Foods is helpful to them as well. But there's also other organizations. One I'm very familiar with is a group called Brewster Cares. They do some good programs with respect to the poverty in my district. So having said all of that, what I'd like to do is make a motion to take $150,000 out of fund balance to put into sub-contingency for the use for developing a program next year to what might be a very tough year next year for a lot of people, to develop a program to have other organizations help us address that need. It's a county purpose. And I'd like to make that motion, and I hope to have a second.
Can I clarify the
We have a
motion?
Yeah.
So it's not specifically for Brewster Cares?
No.
It's for, okay. And I'm looking at their work, and it's amazing.
It's for anything
like that.
Any program that would help address food insecurity, whether it's a food pantry, whether it's an organization like the Red Cross even, or Brewster Cares. It's not specific, my motion's not specific to any one individual or any one organization. I know there's churches that some of us, our colleagues.
Placeholder for.
A placeholder for food insecurity for any.
I'll second it. Happy to.
Who seconded it?
I did.
Okay, discussion. Legislator Crowley.
I don't think it's a bad idea. I'm actually doing a food drive this weekend on Sunday. I think that we do have some issues, and, CAP is another great program. We have the church in Carmel that does, not really my district, but is in my town. There's a lot of good organizations. I like that it's subject to a fund line, or to funding a line that can kind of be pulled from to give to each different legislative district or different needs throughout the county. So I don't have a problem with that at all. I recognize it and I see it, especially after being with the seniors this weekend, or this week, sorry.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Tony, I
No,
don't know.
absolutely in favor of that. I think that's wonderful. We can help the community. As everyone knows, that I work with Second Chance Food now 5 years, started with COVID. Thought we were going to do it for a year, and now we have 92 boxes, 92 that we put out, and every Wednesday, and they do it at the Mount Carmel Baptist Church. So I do agree. We have seen more people coming also and asking and in need with small children. So I would definitely be in favor of anything that we can do to help our community. And, to speak to Nancy, what you had said too about people struggling right now, with the SNAP, with all, we should try to do more for the people here in Putnam County, the people that are in need. So I'm absolutely in favor of anything that you propose regarding that.
Anyone else? Legislator Russo.
I would support that as well. I was with the seniors today, so I know there's a lot of them that could use assistance. I also have volunteered with Second Chance Foods, picking up food and bringing it to the facility to be prepped for meals. And then I also prepare and cook meals and serve them on every fourth Sunday or weekend in Patterson at the community church, where they do a community kitchen. And it's not only the food insecurity, but it's the loneliness and the sadness of people wanting to reach out for food. And every weekend I'm there, we have people knocking on the door for food for the food pantry. So I am in favor as well.
Legislator Ellner.
This is, I hate to say it this way, this is a no-brainer. This is something that we have to do. And this ties into what we were going back to with the tax relief. That's one step, and it doesn't have to be exclusive. So absolutely, I'm in favor of this.
Anyone else who hasn't spoken yet? Legislator Montgomery.
If you look at just food pantries in Putnam County, there's, five official food pantries in Putnam County. So if you just divide that, it's not a lot for each food pantry, plus all of these other organizations. Brewster Cares isn't even listed on that, but all of the work that they do. But Legislator Agnizio reminded me of something I really think is important, because what we're facing, especially this upcoming weekend, and caring for those less fortunate, what's really scary for me, and I think we have to keep it in mind, is making sure we touch base with those that are caring for those that are less fortunate, and our social service staff and our first responders, and all of our employees in the county who are directly related to this on the front lines that have to see this. And I think it's getting really hard for them, and we have to be conscious of that.
Legislator Goldman.
Thank you, Chairwoman. This is a good idea. In the past, my wife and I have volunteered at the Putnam Valley Food Pantry, and the numbers keep increasing, and many of these people don't just go there on Saturday, they go here on Saturday, they go to Mayapack on one day, they go to Yorktown another day, because they're hungry, and I get it. And a lot of them actually are renters. So, by doing what we did before, we probably should have changed it, but that's another discussion. Also in the senior centers, I go to the Putnam Valley Senior Center often, and I notice a lot of people come there, basically, and that's the only meal that they get during the day is the lunch that they get there. Also, recently, there was a program that came into Putnam Valley on Monday afternoon and stayed a few hours, and that program lost funding, and they ended, and I got many phone calls basically saying what's going on, and I had to explain it's a privately funded organization, and they're changing what they're doing, and it is what it is. We do live in a very wealthy community, but we also, like was mentioned before, we have a lot of people who are going paycheck to paycheck and, rent to rent and mortgage to mortgage, and that is a problem, so I would be supporting this.
So I would, I haven't spoken yet.
Oh,
but-
sorry. No.
Everybody gets 3 chances, but I just want to just make sure you have your support with me. I've spoken to a father for a church in town. They have a food pantry, and he let me know that if there was anything that the legislature could do for the food pantry, they were not doing well, and they were way below their budget, and the demand keeps increasing. I think I told you all recently that I was at the JV Mall, and there was a line out the mall parking lot of people waiting in line for food pantry and for foods. I was shocked myself when I worked, I helped with the United Way in setting up food delivery here in Putnam County in 2020 during the COVID, how many people were in need and how many people that I knew that would come. And I mean, there was no shyness in needing food and wanting to pick it up. And I think food insecurity is kind of something that I was talking about during the budget process for the outside agencies, is that if we have some type of a clear vision of what we want to support, I think that's exactly what, kind of what I had envisioned, is picking something like food insecurity or some other organization or some other need in the county. So I'm fully supportive of that. I think that'll go really quickly, the funding, but I think it's a very large amount. It's a really good idea, and I'm fully supportive of it. And Legislator Crowley.
It was wonderful. I just wanted to say that I did speak to Marlene at OSR after somebody had approached me. And what they're doing is they're going to cross-check with DSS to find out who will be losing those benefits in our seniors, and then we'll have to reach out for other people. And they are actively working on it because it was brought up to a constituent of mine came up to me and said it. So, and I do think we need to actively work together. And like I said, I'm not trying to plug this. This is just this came out of the woodworks just because of several people having this conversation Saturday at the Town of Carmel, or Sunday at the Town of Carmel from 11 to 1. We are doing a food drive, and it will be going to Second Chance Foods, so, because they are in need. So if anybody wants to come, please come, and people are in need, the food pantries are low, and there are a lot of people that are going to be needing more than what they're expected to give out right now, so.
Okay, it sounds like everybody's on board with this. I mean, we probably have more items, so I want to make sure that we get everything discussed. I will ask for a roll call vote on this item.
You just asked for an all in favor.
No, I should do an all in favor, but I will do, I'm tired. Well, I'll recall that. Let's do an all in favor.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Instead of a minute and a half. Anyone else have any other business they'd wish to discuss? Legislator Crowley.
Just want to make a statement. So I've chosen not to accept the annual cost of living raise because I believe taxpayer dollars should be used responsibly and accountably. Public service is about representing our residents, not personal gain. Families across Putnam County are tightening their belts, and I believe that as their legislator, I should lead by example. So I just wanted to put that on the record. I will not be accepting it. I will be writing a letter to the Commissioner of Finance, as I do every single year, and that is my statement.
Any other business? Okay, with that, we'll move on to agenda item number 6. We'll take a brief recess while our auditor offsets the changes to the budget. motion from our recess, and the county auditor, the legislative auditor, calculated the fund balance, transfer of fund balance from $6,575,011, and with our votes, we increased it to $7,025,345. That is an approximate difference of $450,334. It being the intent of the legislature to comply with real property tax law and levy $212,312. So that's item number 6. Moving on to agenda item
Can
number...
we pass that? Yeah, we're going to...
Oh, do we have to approve that? Sorry. All right, so I will make a motion to pass agenda item number 6. I'll read it. Such adjusted amount as required to offset the changes to the tentative budget by the county legislature, including county executive's vetoes not overridden by the legislature, and including final adjustment for health insurance rates in compliance with the tax cap requirements of the state of New York, and being the intent of the legislature to comply with the real property tax law levy of $45,212,312, approximate difference of $450,334.
I'll second for
second.
discussion.
Second by legislator.
I'll defer to Greg. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, not for discussion, for approval.
Well, no, my question is, there's a difference of how much? 400?
$450,334.
So are we increasing the tax levy over the county executive's budget, keeping it
Correct.
even? Well, I'm not sure I want to do that. I mean, just as 1 out of 9, I'm not sure I want to increase. I might even want to go a little underneath.
Well, we just added,
Right, but I'd like to amend this. Yeah, I'm done.
I'd like to take that money out of the fund balance rather than add it to the tax levy.
well, it is coming out,
The way it was read,
yes,
the way it was read is that there's
Oh,
an approximate difference to the levy of $450,003.
It's coming out of fund balance.
So there's no change to the
No change
proposed levy?
No change to the levy, no change to the tax rate. This is coming out of fund balance. I did not state that, I'm sorry about
I
that.
think,
Okay, yeah. Is there, could you read the top portion of that?
Use of fund balance.
That's where Amy didn't read that part to begin with.
I did not
that's
read
why.
that part to
Okay.
begin with. Use of fund balance to offset the change for use of fund balance, and we have the budget line for that. I apologize, I did not read that part. Yeah, it's written in here, I just didn't say that.
Okay.
Yes, we're using the fund balance in that amount.
got it.
Well, no, it's just been calculated now.
It's just calculated by...
Oh, you have number 6 in your packet?
Yeah.
It's blank, though. You'll see the numbers.
Okay, I'm sorry, I should have read that.
We'll copy that.
This was just calculated by the
County auditor.
county auditor, when she asked where it should come from. I thought it should be fund balance, so we're not increasing
Excellent.
tax rate. And
Great.
so I will ask for, is there a second?
I
to-
seconded it.
Okay, legislator. Sure. So we have a motion and a second discussion. Legislator Jonke.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm in favor. This has been as every year is, it's a difficult process to wade our way through, and we finally got to this amount. We are not going to change the historic property tax relief. It's $1 million of relief to the levy. The average taxpayer is not going to feel it very much, but it's still, I guess, a token adjustment. As I said earlier today, based on what we've done, the tax rate's going to be at $2.15, which will be, I don't know when it was ever that low before, but it's many, many decades since it's been that low, and it's due to the hard work of the legislature. So I'm in favor of this.
Anyone else? Okay, that being said, all in favor? Aye. Okay, good job, everybody.
I'm not done yet.
But wait, there's more.
There's
Wait.
more. We have agenda item number 7. This is an approval for the budget adoption. Let me get my papers in front of me here. Approval for the budget adoption is going to be, we're going to start with 7A. So we have two schedules.
No, the 7A stands alone.
7A stands alone, but we had two that were taken out.
No.
No, that starts at 7B. This one is just to approve everything we just did.
Okay,
Yeah,
Can we just do
okay,
that?
so,
we got to put everything in a package and do it.
okay. So 7A is approval for the 2026 budget resolutions that we just discussed at length here tonight. Do I have to make a motion for that?
You can make a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve 7A. Do I have a second?
Second.
Quick question, should that, when was October 20th? Is that the last meeting of the Budget and Finance
That
Committee?
was, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, discussion on 7A. This is approval of the Budget and Finance Committee. All in favor?
Aye.
7B is a resolution adopting the budget for the fiscal year 2026 commencing January 1st, 2026, making appropriations for the operation of the county government and establishing rates of compensation for officers and employees for fiscal year 2026. This is, adopts the tentative budget as amended by this legislature, except for the lines attached in Schedules A and B. If you look at your backup, Schedule A and B.
I'll second that for discussion.
Discussion.
Yeah, I'll just, and of course, I'll be talking about this on 7C. There are two schedules attached to this. This resolution, if I'm correct, Michelle, approves the entire 2026 budget except for those items in Schedules A and B. The reason there's a Schedule A there, as my colleagues know, throughout the year, there's been some abstentions by me because of some of the municipalities in Putnam County that this budget will touch, some of which are represented by my law firm. So I'll be voting for this, but when we get to the next one, that'll be the reason why I'll be abstaining from item 7C. And those Schedule A of that are those lines that affect those municipalities. So thank you.
Any further discussion? Legislator Ellner.
Real quick, I'm just saying, my packet has just Schedule A. Is there a Schedule B?
Should be the
Schedule
last
B.
page. It's the last
There it
page.
is. Got it. It was stuck. Sorry.
Legislator Crowley.
And similar to Dan, throughout the year, I've had to recuse myself for certain reasons due to my husband's employment. So I will be voting, or I will be abstaining for Schedule D.
B.
D is in dog.
Well, it's item 7D, but
7D.
Schedule B.
Sorry, Schedule B, yes. Sorry, I
So we're
apologize.
voting on 7B right now. 7B,
I know.
what's it say, C and D?
But it's item, yeah,
This has items, everything except for Schedule A and Schedule B.
yep.
So this particular item, 7B, includes everything in the budget except for Schedule A and B, which are listed in the backup. Schedule A and B we'll be voting on those two separately. So is there any further discussion on item 7B? Everyone has the opportunity to vote on this one. All in favor?
Aye.
Item 7C. This is an item that adopts the budget lines attached in Schedule A that were omitted in the original 7B. So 7C is voting on Schedule A. If you look at your backup, you can see what's included in Schedule A. These are all lines that might potentially have a conflict for Legislator Birmingham. Okay, any further discussion on this item? I'll move for a second.
Second.
Discussion.
I'll be abstaining for the reasons previously stated.
Any other further discussion on this item? Roll call vote, please.
Legislator Adrizio?
Yes.
Legislator Birmingham?
Abstaining for the reasons stated.
Legislator Crowley?
Yes.
Legislator Ellner?
Yes.
Legislator Ruhlman?
Yes.
Legislator Yaki?
Yes.
Legislator Montgomery?
Yes.
Legislator Russo?
Yes.
Chairwoman Sage?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay. Item 7D. This is an additional resolution adopting the budget for the fiscal year 2026. This is everything in Schedule B that we will be voting for, Schedule B. This adopts, everything listed in budget in B, in your backup. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion.
Aaron?
I will be abstaining due to the reasons I listed previously, my husband's employment.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Legislator Adrizio?
Yes.
Legislator Birmingham?
Yes.
Legislator Crowley?
Abstention for the reasons listed before.
Legislator Ellner?
Yes.
Legislator Ruhlman?
Yes.
Legislator Yaki?
Yes.
Legislator Montgomery?
Yes.
Legislator Russo?
Yes.
Chairwoman Sage?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Wonderful. Congratulations, everyone. I will make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.